Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the Garage Athlete Show. It's myself and Dan this week. Apologies, we had to take a break last week. Life was just absolutely mental with twins, and basically my little girl's nursery just decided, well, it didn't just decide. They got a case of COVID and had to shut from the Friday. Can you hear that in the background or not? Yeah, okay.
That's nice to hear.
I'll just move a little bit further away.
So we are back in business, ready to go. We had some, well, I wouldn't say relaxing time off, like I had to isolate with Clodagh for a couple of weeks. It was freaking full on, man.
Yeah.
Like looking after it all the time was quite tough. Training was definitely on the back burner there.
Yeah, well, I'm quite lucky, as in me and Natalie have essentially come to an arrangement where, so normally on a Tuesday and a Friday I train during the day because they're the days that Willow's at nursery, and then essentially they get some evening time with me, whereas I'm just having to train. I think I'm training Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday evenings, or about 8 p.m, which isn't the greatest in terms of like sleep, because I find sometimes when I get to bed I'm still a little bit wired because I'm all like jacked up from kind of training late at night, but it is what it is. And obviously when things kind of go back to normal and I can take my caffeinated pre-workout again. So actually it's probably giving me a nice rest from the caffeinated pre-workouts. I'm trying to limit myself to like a coffee or two a day as well. So it's just taking the positives kind of where you can. I'm using this time to basically bring up my caffeine tolerance again, as I don't have as much as kind of I normally would. And again, as I said, so Willow will probably be making an appearance at some point in this podcast today, just because she is milling about. Right. So what's new with yourself, matey? Like, are you all sorted for Christmas? Have you done your Christmas shopping? I know you've had a busy few weeks, or
Really
you haven't
bad,
done anything. Oh wow. Okay.
I know, right? But I'm not even part of that many people. I think my wife sorted out presents for the kids.
Oh, that's good.
And then
that's the big one though, isn't it? You don't really want to be rushing around on what's the Arnie film where he's rushing around on Christmas Eve. Yeah. Where he's rushing around on Christmas Eve to get his kids like
put the cookie down. Yeah, that's normally me, unfortunately. But I'm alright, man. Just I haven't really sorted.
Have you got the present for your wife though?
You what, mate?
Have you got the present for your wife?
No, she can't decide what she wants. Like my wife's very specific about what she wants. So,
and she's giving you like a week
to get her that
to get it. Yeah, you need to get that out of her, mate.
Yeah, we've got Amazon Prime and whatnot, but I think I'll have to like get it done today or tomorrow, and that's the cut off. I mean, like for my parents, I'm not really. It's weird because we live up in Newcastle, and all our families are down south. I won't be seeing anyone over Christmas.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like,
get it done in the January sales, it'll be cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. So I might get away with it because I'm not seeing anyone. So it could be okay. But then my kids are bought for, and then I need to buy. We're I wouldn't say cheap shares in my family, but we kind of just do Secret Santa for everyone. So you only buy for one anyway. So
exactly. Yeah, we do the same for like the extended family, just because when you get into that extended family, if you're trying to buy, even if it's only like 10, 15, 20 quid a gift, like as soon as you get up to like grandparents and down, that's like what, 20 gifts you've kind of got to buy for people that you very rarely see. So I think once kids are above like 16 or 18, that doing some sort of like Secret Santa, everyone gets one name out of the hat. You still get the opening presents, you still get that kind of part of the day, but it takes the pressure off, and you're not then, because you hear about families putting themselves into thousands and thousands of pounds of debt for like one day. And I don't know about your kids, but like half the stuff that they get is forgotten about within a couple of days. And it's just, it's for sure. It's like, I'm very much I'm not a materialistic person. Like I like a few shiny things. So like my garage gym is probably the most expensive thing that I own.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't need to have like the latest iPhone. I don't need to have like the shiny Rolex or anything like that. That's not something that's important to me, but I'm finding that for a lot of people, it kind of is. And as I said, they put themselves into like financial difficulties just to have these shiny objects that they don't really mean that much in kind of the long term. And then these are also the people that are like unhappy with kind of like how they look as well, because they're spending so much time and money on stuff. They're not actually spending quality time like with the people that they care about.
So deep.
Yes,
So
try to
deep.
be.
Oh my God, dude, you're so deep, man. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I've never been one person to put myself in debt for Christmas. I mean, I guess I put myself into debt for the gym, but Christmas
Yeah.
probably not. Yeah.
I think everyone within the group is at least. Actually, no. We've some people that just buy all cash, don't they? Or they trade stuff
You know what,
so
I
that
used
they.
to, yeah, I'm still trying to do a little bit of the old buy, flipping stuff on Facebook, or just trying to look for secondhand stuff all the time. But it's nearly, it's doable now, but it's nearly impossible. Like, it's not like it
Because the
was.
demand's so high, anything that's
I come to the
reasonably
conclusion that you might as
priced.
well buy new now, because like you
Well,
can't.
yeah. Well, anything that's reasonably priced, it gets snapped up like that because there's 100, 200 eyes out there looking to do the same thing.
Even
So,
say
like,
for like cast iron was like what? Let's say you buy a new plate, it's 250 a kilo.
yeah,
Whereas if you bought second hand, it was £1 a kilo. So you're like, well, I'm saving over half here for basically the same thing. Whereas now
yeah.
second hand's like say £2 a kilo, and brand new was like 250 kilo. Like, well, I might as well just buy new. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point?
And also new, you get a warranty. You get it. You've got a guarantee on in terms of the quality. So you know where it's come from. Yeah, it's one of those things, as you said at the moment. Like, to be honest, I need probably about another 100 kilos in weight just because I got the leg press. So I've like maxed out like all my big plates on the leg press because I've got a 25, a 20, a 15, and then a couple of 10s. But
Yeah.
that's like as many plates as I can kind of fit on it. So I need like another 20 plate to be able to kind of progress kind of any further. And it's just like I just can't wait and for the prices to kind of come back down. So now it's just waiting for places to kind of get stock back in where I can pick something up. So even if you go to like Argos or Muscle Squad or something like that, I'm just looking just to get some just iron at £2 a kilo. I don't even mind spending £2 a kilo now. I was going to wait until it came back down to
Yeah,
like
me too. All
150
of
a
a sudden,
kilo. And then it's like, fuck's sake, right? I need it now. So
crazy, yeah. You would say, yeah, but I would never have in the past. Well, I would not reluctantly, but I just wouldn't have spent £2 a kilo, because which is even expensive. Like, I was looking at urethane plates earlier because like a few of them and primer ones look really nice and other stuff. And we're talking like, they're wonderful plates. They are so much better quality than cast iron, etc. But we're talking like £100 for one plate, and it's like,
yeah.
it's a good bit of cash, like, especially like if you're trying to buy like 7-8 pairs. It's like, oh god, it's really gone quite high here. So yeah, I'm happy with cast iron. That will do me. I'm not bothered about calibrating or.
Yeah. Well, we should like Jay was saying the other day, he was on like Alibaba and like trying to venture into that field the other day. I'm so tempted to get like go right. I need 5 guys that are all looking to spend about 200 quid on some plates. We buy some from a factory in China, we get them shipped over to somewhere that's in the middle of the country, and then we all just go and meet up to kind of split it up.
Yeah, yeah, I'm about to try and pick up quite a lot of plates actually, so that wouldn't have been a bad idea. I sold all mine.
I want to have a little look into it because then, as you said, you can always buy some extra and then just sell them a marketplace at what, a 15-20% markup or whatever, and make quite a bit of your money back.
I don't know if I could deal with the stress of bringing it over though. Like, I was speaking to a couple of guys that do it, and it's just like the import, the knowing where it's getting in, the Brexit, the knowing.
Oh yeah, you've got the whole Brexit thing to deal with now,
I'm not
haven't
sure.
you?
I think I'd rather just
Will
pay.
Brexit, if it's shipping from China though, will Brexit affect it much?
Apparently so, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure the ins and outs, but it does, yeah, because everything changes. So, I mean, a lot of it's speculation at the moment, but we'll find out. But yeah, pretty.
Oh, they will get a deal done like very last minute, like the deadline day. It'll go till midnight on that deadline day because they want to squeeze every bit of juice out of it, just because they're fucking politicians and that's what they like to do.
Amazing.
Right, should we get into some questions?
Yeah, let's do it, bud.
So I asked for some Christmas themed ones. Don't seem to have got that many Christmas themed ones, but I put some Christmas themed ones in there because we are 10 days away from Christmas now. And so we have got something special lined up for you guys next week. We're not going to give away any like hints of what it is, but it should be fun anyway. So first question from James Crowther. Any suggestions on how I should approach my training after 7 weeks off due to COVID sickness / hashtag it depends? You be careful.
Yeah, I think on return to the end, you have to, on this one, hey, sweetie. It's probably not,
I'm okay, thank you.
she's so,
I'm good. You go back to iPad.
there she goes. I mean, when you're returning back from sickness, I would say it's almost not so much it depends. You have to take it really slow. Surprised / frustrated at how much your work capacity has changed, but you just have to be patient. The beauty of having a home gym and doing it is that you can do a little bit every day if you want to. For example, you might find that doing maybe even just 2 sets of working weight of squats is enough and it puts you into the red. So just do those 2 sets and then maybe try and catch up a bit more in the week. But what I would do, I'm currently going through this myself because I took 4 weeks off with baby, COVID, isolation, twins, or all that kind of stuff. I didn't train for a month, and coming back, I'm finding I'm having to go really, really slow, like to the point like starting off with 2 sessions a week, trying to boost it up to 3, doing just where I would normally do 5 sets, I'm only doing a couple of sets. The load's really reduced. I'm very reactive. What do they call it? I'm working auto-regulation. So I'm working purely based on what I can output and what feels right. I'm really just trying to have a think about what I can and can't do. I'm not really following a program because I think right now, if I did follow a program, it'd be very sort of more guidelines, like try a bit of this, do a little bit of that. If the plan says 4 sets, but 2 sets feels enough, just do 2. So it's a really, you got to think of it as like starting the wheels on a train again. It's a really slow start. You feed the engine, you start to get it moving. You might feel like you're probably doing too little, but then as you go through the weeks, then you start ramping up, you start moving forward, and then you start worrying about, not worrying, but like pushing to more numbers that you're familiar with. Another good one is maybe when you get back to training is just doing something different that you've never done before, that you don't have the emotional connection to with the numbers. So one thing I always do when I come back to fitness is I normally go typically bodybuilding style training because I have no idea what it is in terms of numbers. It's a variation I don't normally hit first. So whatever I do, it's something I have a number for. So that keeps me mentally switched on as opposed to going straight back in on the old squat bench dead and taking the hit on that. So yeah, that'd be my advice. Slowly build.
Yep. Pretty similar then from me. So I've had a client that's he had a can you stop that please? Had a hernia operation recently, and
so he's coming back from the from the hernia. I think he's just he's just sorted out his daughter there. She's very, very cute. Anyone with kids knows what this is like. They're just relentless. They never never stop. She's climbing all over him. Oh, amazing. That's very, very funny. I'll tell you what, I'll have a look at maybe what the next question is whilst John wrestles his daughter. Having a great time. But yeah, I mean, in terms of returning, are you back?
Okay. Yeah. Well, all we do is you just tickle her, and then till she runs away, and then she'll go back to the iPad.
She just wants to see how are you. That's all.
Yeah, she just wants to say how are you.
Very cute.
So yes, I've just had a client that's had to do this. He went and had some keyhole surgery. So he's very, very strong. And we actually, just like you said, moved him away from a set program just because we were doing the progressive overload up to then. I said, if I have something written down on paper for you within this system, you're going to want to try and beat it. That's just the type of person that you are. So yeah, we just go right back to basics. Maybe throw some stuff in there, as you said, that you don't normally do. So I had him doing some like body weight stuff, some like higher rep range stuff. And you just want to train to feel better rather than chase numbers. So as you said, doing some exercises that you might not have done for a little while, some of the ones that you enjoy, and just making sure that you're not trying to go straight back in kind of where you were when you kind of left off, because you are going to be weaker. Neurologically, you're going to not have as good a movement pattern kind of thing you did. If you go straight back in at those numbers, you run the risk of injuring yourself and having another however many weeks out to recover from an injury. So it's just be sensible with it, drop the weight by a decent amount and just work kind of back up slowly.
Yep, nailed it.
Okay. So Matt Foster, how do you approach Christmas with regards to nutrition? I'm training for strength casually, not for comp, and it's my first Xmas training as opposed to just exercising. I plan on training throughout and then chowing down on mostly meat, try to avoid too many spuds. So I then put, what is the end goal? Strength or aesthetics? And he's put, I've recently cut 6 kilos and the goal now is strength. So to be honest, as long as you're not a greedy pig, you don't really need to do anything special kind of around Christmas. There's more food around, and obviously on Christmas Day it's a feast for a reason. Like, I think people can end up eating like 4,000 or 5,000 calories like in a single day. However, if you're training regularly, your body will utilize that. Like, there's bodybuilders I know that are eating 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day every day. So it's one of those things. If you've got an aesthetic goal and you don't want to put on weight kind of over the Christmas period, it's just be sensible with it. Track your food as normal. Don't track on Christmas Day. Don't be that wanker that's like putting Christmas dinner into MyFitnessPal, because nobody likes that person.
No one does that.
No, people do that. Trust me, I've had to tell people, right, don't track on Christmas Day, and they've gone, oh, well, I enjoy tracking. Like, okay, well then you do that. You do you, but okay. I'm telling you now, I don't want you to track on Christmas Day. Like, it's very, very hard. If you think about it, a pound of fat is 3,500 calories. The average person needs 2,000 calories for their BMR, or what their normal amount of calories per day anyway. So to put on a pound of fat, you need to eat 5,500 calories like in a day and not do like anything. So if that's just a normal person, then yeah, they might put on a pound of fat. If it's somebody who trains, what's going to happen is all that extra energy is going to go to your muscles. And if you then train over the next couple of days, like, you'll utilize those calories. So try not to think of it as I'm putting on weight. It's use those extra calories and go and set some personal bests in the gym. Go and lift some weights. If you enjoy lifting weights, if you want to lift weights on Christmas Day and your family understand, by all means, crack on. Like, it's one of the benefits of having a home gym is we can go and train on Christmas Day if we want to. But if you don't want to, like, don't feel guilty because some other people are. Like, so yeah, if your goal is strength, like, don't worry about it too much.
Yeah, put the calories to good use, man. Like, do some heavy training. Like, if you're getting a few extra calories, then make use of it. Like, put it to work. That's what I would do.
Definitely, I know I will be. Because Christmas Day's Saturday this year, isn't it? It's pull deadlifts.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, fun times. And as I said, because I'm training in the evenings at the moment, so we've got my stepsons are with their dad in the morning, and then they come to us about 4. So we're having Christmas dinner about 1 or 2. And then my stepsons will come in the afternoon. So we're having to split Willow's presents in half. So she's getting like half her presents in the morning with us, and then she'll have some presents to open when her big brothers are coming to open their presents, or else you won't have had, you've only got one, you've just had the twins, haven't you? So when the younger ones don't really understand, when they get to about 2.5, and Claudia's having a birthday and it's not their birthday, like, that's going to be an interesting one to manage, because it was Josh's birthday on the 6th of December. We were having to prep her for like 2 weeks beforehand, being like, it's Josh's birthday. You could help him unwrap his presents, but remember that it's Josh's birthday. Willow gets presents at Christmas. Yeah, she was all right with it, actually. We didn't have any tantrums. Oh, however, she liked his remote control car that he got so much, we had to buy her one. So she didn't get a present the day of, but Danny was on Amazon and ordering another one of those remote control cars. So that it came the next day because she was having a meltdown because she couldn't play with it.
That's so funny.
I
Yeah,
even said to Natalie, why don't we get her a gift to like go with it? She's 2, she can't. No, I don't want to start that. But then the day of so because it came the day after the birthday, that's fine. You can't get her a gift for the day of the birthday.
amazing. Yeah, no, you got to do what you got. Yeah, you do you, as you say. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Next one.
Next one. Next one's from me. Christmas cake versus Christmas pudding.
Oh man, it's got to be Christmas pudding, right? I mean, they're both. I mean, I do like Christmas pudding and that, but like, I'm not bothered about Christmas. Is Christmas cake like basically almost like Christmas pudding, but with marzipan and stuff on it?
Yeah, just the cake kind of over the
Yeah,
top.
I've got no time for marzipan. What do you think about it?
I'm out of the 2. It's Christmas pudding, definitely. I'm the only one. So Natalie doesn't like Christmas pudding. The kids don't like Christmas pudding. We've got my stepmother-in-law coming around for Christmas dinner. She likes Christmas pudding, so I essentially have half a Christmas pudding on Christmas Day because it's just me and one other person that eat it. So I'm just like, give me those carbs like now. And it's the first year I'm actually in like a bulking season when it is Christmas dinner, and I can just be like, right, give me the food, like as much of it that can go in is going in.
Yeah, get it done, man. I mean, yeah, I mean, we know the Christmas cake's never really been. It's been around, but it's one of them things like I swear everyone buys because it's tradition.
Yeah.
But then, like, no one really eats it. Like,
No, it's just a fruit cake at the end of the day, isn't it? It's a fruit cake with some
it,
Christmassy
yeah,
icing on the top.
yeah, it is pretty much just a fruitcake, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So is Christmas pudding, if I'm honest. Christmas pudding is just a fruitcake that we
Yeah,
pour
I don't think we
whiskey or
have a
brandy on top of it and set it on fire.
yeah, but like we're it's our first it's our first Christmas as a family up here because of COVID without everyone, and we're like, well, none of us eat Christmas pudding, so we're not having it. Like dinner wise, I think we're having beef and turkey because I was kind of like, well, you know, like I don't mind turkey, but like we're not that bothered by it. And I'm like, well, it's quite a thing you have to work at to get right. Like you really have to do some prep and cook it really properly, otherwise it's just dry and horrible. So I was like, all right, well, screw that. And then yeah, so just sort of traditional stuff. I mean, we'll probably end up having sprouts because we'll chuck a load of bacon in it, so that'll be
Yeah,
nice. But like, yeah, there's a sort of traditional Christmas things we won't be partaking in, and I think Christmas cake and Christmas pudding will be one of them. I would much prefer a Yule log. That suits me.
yes. Actually, I've not had a Yule log in years because, again, the kids, if it appeared, it'd be gone before I got to it. So, right. Next question. Why are pigs in blankets only a thing at Christmas?
I don't know. Why? Maybe because it's so calorific. I don't know. Like maybe
Yeah.
we can't sustain it with all our piggies. But
But like you take 2 of the best things about breakfast, which is bacon and sausages, and you wrap one in the other. Like I want to know why is this not a thing like more of the year than just at Christmas? Like you can't go to a shop and just order pigs in blankets. Like
well, it just seems so barbaric. Like a pig wrapped in its own like meat. But they just call it a blanket. It's like, oh, that sounds really nice. You're literally
we're just
wrapping an
tucking these
animal.
piggies up for a nice warm trip into the oven. And
But yeah, no, I always what do you call it? I always used to see how many I could get in around Christmas time. Like, it was almost like bottomless. You know, when your parents start doing the cooking, you'd be constantly just nicking them, like eating them. My mum
oh
used to,
yeah.
whereas
Yeah,
now,
because there's so many of them as well around Christmas. Just because, again, you can't get them at other times of year. You can't just pop to M&S and get a tray of pigs in blankets unless it's like 2 weeks before Christmas and literally there is thousands of them and then they disappear again. It's like cream eggs as well, isn't it? They only make those like coming up to spring, and then the rest of the year you can't find them.
yeah, true, man.
But yes, we should start a petition that pigs in blankets should be around like all year long. It's one of the best
Absolutely.
parts about Christmas. And
Absolutely.
James Hayes Lee has put on just silently crying about pigs in blankets not being available all year.
Yeah, I love it, man. But now they are good.
I think
Yeah,
that's probably okay. So what's like one thing is your favorite part of Christmas dinner, like in terms of the food?
I really like. Well, I really like the stuffing because I don't normally have that. Like, my mum used to make this like sausage meat. Oh, it was like sausage meat stuffing. It was literal just balls of sausage meat, and I love that. It was just like, sort of balls, like it was just a salt fest, like balls of sausage meat and pigs in blankets and bacon on the turkey. It's just fucking crazy. No wonder I'm like 20 stone. But like, I think I just love the all of the food, all of the drink, and then let everyone be together. Like, I'm a big fan of Christmas and Christmas dinner.
Yeah. So for me, it's the roast potatoes. Like
Oh,
it's the
yeah,
only time of year that we bother to get goose fat to roast our potatoes in, and it just tastes that little bit better. I've just got a delivery. I'll be back in a sec. So next question: why do I spend more time buying things than training?
So basically, this question was from me. So recently, I think I've taken a back seat for training because of family stuff. Multiple children and pandemics and all whatnot. But I have found recently, since I haven't been training as much, there's definitely been a shift in my mindset of buying a lot more things or wanting. I think it's more wanting to buy a lot more things and keeping your eye a lot more close on marketplace and just looking to buy things here or there. And it got me thinking, I think when you're in and amongst it and your training's going really, really well, it's a huge thing to you. So I think you can get by, if you have like crap plates or a knackered bar, but the training's going really, really well, you don't care. Whereas I think when you kind of lose that, you do sort of shift a bit more to looking at other stuff. So they always say I think we touched on it earlier, when you're buying people buy a lot of materialistic things, maybe they're not happy in other aspects. And I think maybe with my lifting, because I'm, with injuries and being away from it and not happy, it's made me take a step back and think, okay, well, I love this hobby, this training, and it is business for me as well. So I just seem to be looking more towards things to buy instead of actually lifting. So instead of working out how to get the most out of my deadlift, it's now what are the best platform I can get or what the best plates I can get. So I definitely noticed a correlation in me not lifting so much and buying more stuff or more stuff. But I'm hoping when I get back into being really, really good at lifting again and everything's back on form, then I've got everything I could ever possibly need and I'll be happy as out. But yeah.
Well, I've noticed since we've brought Nick and
James?
I can't remember James into the chat, there's a lot more talk about like kit, and it's making me go, oh, I didn't even know those were a thing. Like those jammer arms, I didn't even know those were a thing. However, I now want them.
Moderator? God.
Exactly. I was like, when did this become a thing? Like, and now it's like I've got a post Christmas list. So I'm reading a book at the moment. It's called, what's it called? It's all about investing and being a proper adult, and thinking about my future. And I think turning 30 is making me go, I'm self-employed now. I kind of have to think about like pensions and all that bollocks and making my money go and work for itself. And so I'm listening to a book called The Money Shot, and it's all about like financial planning and like where to go and invest, ISAs, retirement, and all that kind of stuff. So I sat down and like figured out where all my money is, and I'm going, right, so if I want to set aside like £300 a month to pay for kit, I need to earn X amount, and I can have that and go off as reinvesting in my business. So yeah, I spent the day doing that the other day, figuring out where I need to be in terms of numbers of clients and charging and blah blah blah. And basically within a year I should be able to really fancily kit out my gym. I've spent with all this new stuff coming in, I had to spend the time of like, right, how am I going to be able to allocate my money to be able to fund my new buying of equipment like obsession, which I thank you guys for, because up until like I joined like home gym, I thought I was pretty much done. And now it's just like, oh, shiny objects. Like I want to.
Shiny objects showing through. Totally, yeah.
So what sort of stuff have you been looking into? You've been looking for some chrome plates and stuff, haven't you?
Well, the chrome plates just popped up on Facebook. They're only, I think they're worth £2 a kilo, but they're these weeder chrome plates, but they look like the Avanco ones of like the old ones, which are really rare now. And they just popped up, and I was like, oh, they look so cool. Like I had to get them. Like they were calibrated plates, but they're like rust buckets. I put them in a vinegar bath, and it's come out quite nicely actually. But I've been speaking to a guy in the States who sort of given me some ideas to make them look really pretty. So I've got a few things I'm going to do to it, but it's one of those things I'll just be doing tinkering along with it when I get an opportunity, which isn't that
Yeah.
but, I just love it, like just kind of restoring those. But then it got me thinking, like, oh god, I would love a full set of these. That would be really like I'd love to restore a full set.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I see any chrome plates and they are local, I will make sure to pass them on. And if I need to go and pick them up for you, like
Oh, no, yeah,
I'll let you
absolutely.
know. I'll feed you a habit.
Yeah, please do. No, they're very cool. I would love a full set. They're the Weeder ones. Like I never saw them before. I didn't realize Weeder made a run of them. But they're very cool. Like very rare. Like
Yeah.
never up. So I presume there's a set. I reckon my theory is that there's been a full set knocking around in the northeast at some point, and it's just been split up. Because I
Right.
saw a pair of 15s the other in a few months ago. I wish I bought them, but I didn't. But I got these 10s, and even so, just they're just nice templates to restore them. I'll keep them. It'd be something cool to have,
And that's just it. Just keep an eye out, and like as they pop up, then just snap them up, and eventually have a full set, which is going to be worth. Oh crap! The dog's got out. Just a second.
Oh no!
Willow, why did you let the doggy out?
Right. Well, so now we'll move on to the next one. So, why is such a crap meat like turkey festive meat? It's just a shit chicken. From Danny. That's a good one. I mean, I quite like turkey. I think it's all up to who cooks it. It's got to be done well. But we're talking. I think you really have to start interfering with them all that. It's all about the prep. Like the butter under the skin, drying them. Doing it low and slow, like using thermometers, all that kind of stuff. I think they take a lot of work. I think if you can cook
This
it,
child, like
right, they're absolutely
all through this morning, she's just been sat nicely on the iPad, and as soon as I want to just sit down, it's like, right, I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go mental. I'm gonna be a wild child. Set the doggy free.
No problem. Mate. So we're having a look at we're talking about turkey. So
Turkey. Okay.
I think turkey in the right hands is a phenomenal meat. I think it's delicious.
Yeah.
I really like some dark meat off the turkey. I have had some naff birds over the years, and I just did it.
If it's, as you said, if it's cooked wrong, it can be dry. It can be. I think because people aren't used to cooking it, they can do it wrong, and then they're also so scared of giving everyone food poisoning because it's such a big bird. Like if you get a 5 kilo turkey, it takes like 3.5 hours to cook. So I think sometimes people overcook it because they're so scared of undercooking it. And at the end of the day, you're not going to know it's undercooked until you've cut into it, and then it's a bit like, oh, I've just ruined the turkey.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I think in the right place it's great. But I mean, I'm more of a beef man anyway, so I think I'm going to go for beef this year instead of turkey. But saying that, I think I will miss it. I do love a bit of turkey stuffing and cranberry sauce. Like I'm a big fan.
Well, I used to go to my grand's. So from when we moved to this country, I was about 2. Till basically the Christmas Willow was born. So what's that? 2 years ago now. Yeah. So what's that? 24 years, 25 years. Like out of 25 Christmases, we had like 2 Christmases where it wasn't a turkey. One year it was a goose, and I don't know if you've ever had goose, but it's quite fatty and gamey, and it just wasn't liked. And then one year we had just beef, and everyone really missed the turkey. I remember my uncle and my granddad always used to almost pretty much fight over the parson's nose, which is basically the turkey's arse. So I don't know why they would fight over it, but apparently it's a very juicy cut of meat. But I've never had it, and I don't particularly want it. And we have a turkey crown because my missus only likes white meat. So of course, because she only likes white meat, we can't get a full turkey. But I would be the only one that ate the dark meat anyway.
Turkey crowns are a lot more expensive than buying a whole turkey per kilo.
Yeah, definitely. Willow. So we've just started potty training. So we've got a potty, and I've had to buy a step so that she can get up to wash her hands after it. The step has just got here, and you should see how excited she is about the steps.
Yeah.
She is having the absolute time of her life, climbing up onto the steps.
Very cute. Mate, you've just rocked her world with that little step. She's very sweet.
Mate, like I'm so happy that she is now going to keep herself entertained for at least half an hour, walking up those steps, coming off, and congratulating herself.
Last man. Well, yeah, we've got next one. So, what would you rather get for Christmas? Guaranteed new PBs on all lifts next year, but you would have to brutally and irrationally destroy your 3 favorite bits of equipment, or you get to upgrade 3 bits of equipment for free, but you make no gains whatsoever next year. So, I think I'm already in the second category where I upgrade everything, but I've made no gains. So, yes, I've already done that this year, so I guess I would go for the other ones. Yeah, brutally and irrationally destroy your 3. God, that's a hard one, that isn't it? Like,
I've put that. That's really hard.
I
Like for
guess the
me,
there is you care more about your training or what you've got.
I care more about my training. So, but I don't really want. I'm not that bothered about getting like PBs on lifts. Now, if it was like, right, I'm guaranteed. Obviously, I'd still have to work hard, but I'm guaranteed to win like a bodybuilding competition. Then it's just like, 3 favorite bits of kit though. I've spent a lot of money on that kit.
Well, I guess the caveat to that thing is I kind of need that kit to make the PBs, because if I don't have a squat rack bar in place, I'm not PBing on anything. So yeah. So I mean, at the moment I'm kind of in the plate of buying stuff and not making any gains. But yeah, I'm going to cop out and say, look, I need that kit to make the PB.
I'm guessing it would be right. I'm going my 3 bits of kit and put another year on the back burner of making no progress.
Yeah,
I'm only 30, so I've still got plenty of time after it. But if I could get like, I don't know, like an elite FTS like squat rack, a fucking just, I don't know,
amazing.
full set of dumbbells from like 2 to 50 kilos, and then
what's some dumbbells?
So yeah, what's the 3 bits of kit that you'd upgrade? So for me, it'd be a sick like rack that had like all the bells and whistles, so like a leg press attachment, everything that I'd kind of ever need.
Like those promo ones, the what are they called, stealth monsters?
The monster, they're like 5-6 grand. Like I've seen what I'm gonna buy myself. Like once money's not an issue. I'll probably still keep a full squat rack just for the safety. I quite like having a rack now that I've got one, but like having the Smith machine, the leg press, all the cables where things move around, like it's basically an entire gym in one station, isn't it?
Oh, pretty cool.
And then it'd be a full dumbbell rack from 2 kilos to 50, just because I'd have clearly, and then to upgrade to a double garage. Those would be the 3 things that I would.
Double garages. That's God.
Then I've got more space for all my shiny new kit. So a year of gains for those 3 things. Okay, that's fine. Sign me up. As long as I maintain, like I can't move backwards. I've got to stay exactly where I am right now.
Yeah, no, that's a fair compromise. I mean, I'm kind of like, my new thing is with the one space is to try and make it feel as open as possible, because I know your gyms are like a freaking maze, but I was like, I'm really trying to strip back what I actually need and what I actually use and what I don't really need or change. I mean, hence the reason I'm trying to change my rack into a half rack, which is nearly done actually. I've had the piece machine. There just needs a couple more bits drilled into it, but it was giving me almost like anxiety. Like I don't know. I think I've got a mental illness. It becomes like an obsession of making it. I need to make it feel as open as possible.
Feng shui. It needs to flow.
Yeah, so it's like, I've got a full rack in there, which works fine. Whereas now I need a half rack because I need the space to overhead press. Whereas I could probably overhead press if I got right into the side of the house. I just wanted to feel like get everything out. But that's
your thing at the moment. Like at the end of the day, you've shifted some bits of kit that was taking up space, and no doubt in 6 months' time you'll change your mind again. So just don't sell the other half of your rack.
This is no, I won't be selling that. This is the joy of gyms, right? Like that you can change them to suit your goals. Like a couple of years ago, it would be very different, whereas now it's everything just moving things around.
100%. Right, Daniel James Smith. For the upper body, should we all be pulling twice as much as we're pushing, i.e. 2 rowing movements for every pushing movement? I heard Julius Maddox say that's how he trains, and it reminded me that a physio had once told me the same thing.
Quite a common thing, isn't it? Like, it does pop up a lot in terms of shoulder health.
Yes, I think in terms of shoulder health, mobility, injury prevention, all that kind of stuff, I think for the average person, yes, actually, because as human beings, we're very, very anterior. Everything we do is slightly in front of us, which means the pec, the anterior deltoid, everything across here is getting lots and lots of just activation throughout the day. And what you'll see with the majority, I think it's something silly, like 95% of people have got some sort of like mild kyphosis, which is the rounding of the back to the front as the muscles across the front are too tight and the muscles across your upper back are like too weak. So the idea behind it is those rowing movements where you keep your elbows in and retract your shoulder blades, pull your shoulder blades and everything back into position and help with postural alignment, etc. So I think for the average person that's like texting, typing, driving, that is some very, very good advice, especially in the first like 6 months to a year of training. To try and kind of correct some of those like lifestyle imbalances that kind of happen. Whether it needs to be done forever is again questionable. Is it the most optimum way to kind of train? Probably not. If you just want to train to look and feel better, then it's a very, very good ratio to kind of keep. Whereas if you're training for a specific reason, if you're trying to pull twice as often as you push, and say, for example, you're a bodybuilder and your chest and your shoulders are like a lagging body part, you'd be having to train 6 days a week to be able to get enough volume in to get those to grow and then balance that out with the amount of pulling then you'd have to do. So again, it's another, it depends on where you are in your journey, what your goals are, and like what you want to get out of training.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that pops up all the time, and I think, yeah, it's a fantastic idea. Yeah, I would absolutely say double and all that. But in terms of actual time and like realistically, God no, I don't do double the amount of pulling to pressing. I mean, maybe I should, but fuck, like I just don't think I'd have the time or the want to do it. But I would say I mean I was quite lucky, fortunate as a coach. I had, sorry, not as a coach, as a player. My first S&C coach was adamant about tons of pulling movements in the very early, to the fact I didn't bench press until I was about, I think 23 is when I started bench pressing. So no, actually, I think that, yeah, I didn't. No, I'm lying to you. We didn't start benching till we were in the academy. Yeah, I didn't start bench pressing until I was about 18. So the first, I started training at 15. So for the first 3 years, there was no benching. It was all pulling, loads of pulling. If we did, it was overhead press or it was like a really high incline dumbbell press. And I do think that set me up for some good shoulder health. I mean, maybe it would have made my pressing would be better if I did a bit more because I'm not the best presser. But in terms of shoulder health, yeah, I was quite fortunate that we did tons and tons of pulling. So it's probably something I've done already anyway. But I think the good thing about what the interesting about there is, like when they say tons of pulling, is in your warm ups you can set to 20, 25 face balls, and that all counts towards it anyway. But I mean,
Yeah,
everyone, not just general population, everyone, I say, God, yeah, hammer your rows, like really hammer your back. Like, you hear it over and over and again, but was it you can't shoot a cannon off a canoe. So when you're benching, you don't have that really strong stiff upper back. You're not going to be able to, you're not going to have the foundation to press big weights. So I think some people make it out to be a bigger deal than it is, but I think it is important. Yeah, I do think it's definitely worth it. I mean, for especially people I train, yeah, there is a lot more emphasis on the pull because, like you say, everyone is absolutely, like pigeon.
I think what you've said something really, really interesting there, as in you could add that into your mobility work. So doing band pull aparts, face pulls, doing some sort of row variation. You can do that as activation work. You don't necessarily need to be doing working sets on those pulling movements. You just need to be activating the muscle. So just getting a little mini band. So like I'll be doing sets of bench, and I'll be doing band pull aparts in between. Oh, you okay? It's more do. She's watching Brave. The big bear's just come. More do. So yeah, you don't necessarily need to be doing working sets with those. You can do band pull aparts in between your sets of bench. You can wrap the band up around the top of the pull-up rack and be doing face pulls again with a band while you're doing kind of other exercises, whether it's just trying not to do the mini band work or the band work while you're then doing a rowing variation. So if you're doing a press, you can do a pull to oppose it just with a resistance band. If you're training, if you're doing squats or things like that, activating the upper back and your rhomboids and locking your shoulder blades and everything in, getting that as a well ingrained like movement pattern is probably not going to do you any harm. It's not going to take away from the other things that you're doing. And especially if you notice that you are slightly kind of like curved in at the shoulders, just getting those reps in like you do every day when you're texting, when you're here and you're pulling everything in. So just doing more of that stuff to activate the upper back, I think would be really, really useful for the majority of people.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so I think that is it. Is there any other things you'd like to cover this week, mate? Or
yeah, I mean, how did you find training around isolating? Like, how did you fit it in? How was it for you?
so for me, it's one of those, like, for me, training is a non-negotiable at the moment because I am competing in the sorry, she's she's got no knickers on because she's just been for a wee wee. So because it's non-negotiable, I've had to make time for it, which for me, things like family time and stuff have suffered. So I would normally on a Tuesday or a Friday evening from about 8 p.m. be in here with the kids and with Natalie and spending time. But now that's an hour that I'm having to dedicate to training. If I wasn't competing in the summer, I might have just dropped a session out just to kind of get a bit more of a better balance. But it's one of those things where, because it's important to me at the moment, I've had to make sacrifices in other areas. And when people say that they don't have time to train or they don't have time to do these things, they 100% do. It's just they're prioritizing other things ahead of training. And that's not right or wrong. It's just the decision that they've made. So for me, training comes up here in terms of priorities, which means some of the other things that I would like to get done don't get done. Whereas for other people, they flip it kind of the other way around.
Did you ever say, not always, but did you ever say something suffer like, I don't know, family time or specific things or help? Would you ever say that's been a victim sometimes of having that specific goal?
100%. Things like not being able to, that is daddy. Not being able to go out for meals when I'm like deep in prep, or I will have avoided, if somebody's like birthday or something, I might avoid going because I know the temptation's going to be too high. There you go, that's your one. So yeah, sometimes like, family stuff has definitely kind of been affected with kind of like my choice of goals, but I'm quite lucky as in my partner understands that and she tries to not make me feel too guilty about it. And when I'm getting neurotic, as because my body fat is at stupidly low levels, she'll sit me down and we'll have a talk about it, and she'll just tell me how much of an arsehole I'm being and basically give my head a wobble or go live somewhere else. But as I said, I'm quite lucky that she's mature enough that she recognizes when there's a problem that I need to be called out on it. Because if she just like nags at me, I just get irritable and it just starts an argument. Whereas if we sit down and have a talk about it, and I can realize, no, actually, you're being right here. This is my choice. Like, you guys shouldn't be suffering because of my moods, etc. And that is something that I can control. Yes, it's much harder to control when you are in balls deep into prep. Like, you're going to be moody, but you can make the decision to not take that out on other people.
Yeah, it's a good it sounds like you got a good partnership there helping you out.
I'm so lucky. Like, I think if I was with anybody else that wasn't as patient, I would have probably been single after prepping. Just because anybody who's kind of gone through it, you've gone through a heavy dieting phase. Like, when you get to the back end of it, like, you're not a nice person to be around. you become so food focused and so self focused, because essentially you're in survival mode. Your body goes into like a permanent state of fight or flight because it's looking for food. It's saying to you, you are starving to death. Like, you need to get some food in you. Like, and we don't know what's going on here, but apparently food has become really, really scarce. So you become like hyper vigilant to everything, and your brain is just going, when's my next meal coming in? When's that next bit of food coming in? And it's just, it's not conducive of a healthy relationship. So anybody who's thinking about doing like whether it's like men's physique or bodybuilding or any sort of like aesthetic competition, know that it is going to take a big toll on the people that are around you, and you've got to communicate clearly with them that you're essentially going to become an arsehole for the next like 16-20 weeks, and they need to be okay with that.
Yeah, pretty true, huh?
Awesome. Right, I'm gonna need to get going because I need to tie. If you look at my front room at the moment, it's absolutely destroyed. The mummy's going to be home soon. So I'm going to get her sorted, and then the other kids are going to be back soon as well. So it's been great to have a chat with you again this week, matey. So for the guys and girls that have just caught the podcast and have been living under a rock and they don't follow you on Facebook and Instagram, where can everyone find you?
At Bubbles and Beans on Instagram and Dan Frazier on Facebook.
Perfect. And for me, it's at DeegePT on both Instagram and Facebook. And we are also uploading all these videos to YouTube now. So hello, YouTube as well. So on YouTube, basically because I don't have 100 subscribers yet, I can't change the profile link or whatever it is, but it's probably going to be either the DeegePT or I might make a different one for the podcast. We'll see how it goes. But always good to catch up with you, buddy, and I will speak to you later on in the week.
Yeah, absolutely. You take care, mate. Take care.